You are now tuned into the network, the YouTube channel that takes complex networking topics and dumbs it down to a more simple language. Today's topic is Section 1.1, Explain the Role and Function of Network Components. This is subsection 1.1D, Access Points. This is a topic in the CCNA exam code 200-301. Let's go ahead and take a look at the exam blueprint real quick. Okay, so this is the exam blueprint. Hopefully you are studying right along and maybe you stumbled upon this video. I normally have been studying for the CCNP exam rather, and I just wanted to cover a little more basics on wireless because I'm going to be doing some more wireless stuff. Anyways, this topic, as you can see, is from the CCNA exam under the sections 1.1, Explain the Role and Function of Network Components. And today we're just going to be covering access points. So, what is an access point? I'm pretty sure you may or may not know. If you are new to the networking field, you know an access point is basically, it's kind of like a Wi-Fi hotspot, to simply put. If you go into like a Starbucks or McDonald's and you try to get some Wi-Fi, you are 9 times out of 10 connecting to an access point, and that's what gets you the internet, simply put. Let's go ahead and take a look at the slides for some official information. Y'all know what I like to do on this channel is break stuff down real simple, and then we go into textbook material and read the boring stuff. So, access point in computer networks. A wireless access point is a device that allows people to connect Wi-Fi devices such as laptop computers on a wireless LAN. What's a LAN? Local area network. I know there's going to be a lot of new people on, so I'm going to be breaking some of this stuff down. If you are, a subscriber to this channel, and normally I talk more about more complex things, we are going back to the basics here, right? So a LAN is a local area network. So it connects you from a wireless local area network to a wired local area network, right? You would think like, okay, wireless, why are you talking about wires if this is wireless, right? Well, I came up with this, a saying. Behind every wireless network is a wire, right? Because even though you are on a wireless device, whether it's a tablet, a laptop, cell phone, whatever the case may be, to get on the internet or get any kind of network connectivity, you are switching onto a wired network, right? So the access point is often connected to a wireless router. Behind that is a wire. So that's why I say behind every wireless network is a wire. So anyways, over here on the left-hand side is a wireless access point. This is typically how they look like. The physical, I have a physical device I'll show y'all too in the hands-on section. That is a typical device. I believe this is a 3600 model, that little dot right here. This is just an LED or light emitting diode, a light basically. And it changes different colors to let you know what mode it's in, or if anything's wrong, it starts flashing red. I'm not gonna get too deep into that because we just covering the basics of an access point. This on the right hand side is the logical view of an access point. So if you're looking at, like, say, a topology, which I'll show you in I think the next slide, a network topology, this is the icon they're going to use. They're not going to use this right here. This is just how it physically looks like. This on the right hand side, when you're drawing a topology or like a network map, is how I would like to call it, you will see this that represents an access point. Also, typically in the IT field, they refer to an access point as an AP. So you might hear people say AP. No, they're not talking about the watch. They're talking about an access point. So this is a deployed AP. In other words, an AP that is, out in the field. That's basically how it looked like. So next time you go into the mall or, your favorite restaurant, just look in the ceilings. You'll see these little things called an access point or AP flashing. You'll see most likely to be Cisco. Maybe it might be Riverbed or I don't know any other brands right now, but you'll see something that's similar to that. That is basically the Wi-Fi hotspot. That's how you get on the network. That is what an access point does. We'll get more in a little deeper into the next couple of slides on how it does it. So this is a typical WLAN or wireless network, right? So you got right here on the right hand side, this is the internet, right? The internet is a cloud, right? It's not really a cloud, but we refer to the internet as the cloud. Then we've got the wide area network router. This is the local area network. This is the switch, and this is what we came to talk about, that access point right here. So typically, you, as a user, well, you're going to be studying network engineering if you're studying for the CCNA. A user will be typically on this right hand side, and they're trying to get on the network, right? You know how when you get on your computer, right? And I'll show y'all real quick. And you try to look for your wireless networks, right? You see something just like this right here, right? And it shows you the local area networks. The names of these networks, the official name for them are SSIDs, or service set identifier. That's basically the official term for these, a logical name for the networks that you connect to, wireless networks rather. So, for example, this wireless access point right here, remember this is the logical view, this is how it looks like on the topology. That's the host name for it, right? WAP321, maybe that's the model name. I believe that's the host name for it. But anyways, it's broadcasting 3 SSIDs. We got the wireless main network. We got the wireless guest network. That's how you get a guest network when you're trying to get onto it, right? Then down here, you got the wireless SSID for engineering department. Maybe they got a separate VLAN. They just need everybody on this separate network. So that's why they did 3 separate SSIDs here. So depending on which one you need to connect to, you'll see a list of networks just like I just showed you. Just like this, you'll see this, you'll be like, oh, guest or Starbucks or whatever. As soon as you connect to it, it'll broadcast an IP address to you and so on and so forth. We'll talk more about, DHCP and stuff like that in more complex videos. For now, again, we're just talking about the basics of what an access point and what it does in a typical WLAN or wireless local area network. So you get your IP address, and that's what the access point does. It broadcasts SSIDs, and then you'll get an IP address, and then from that point on, you'll be able to connect to the internet, basically. It does more than that, basically. But like I said, we're not going to get too deep into it today. So here are a couple fun facts about APs. The access point broadcasts the name of the SSID through beacons, like the radio of a, radio signal. It really is a radio signal. They're called RF signals, or radio frequencies. So these beacons, they're basically broadcasted out, and your phone has basically a Wi-Fi radio as well, and it receives these signals, and that's how you're able to see the SSIDs that are, basically in the air. They're essentially glorified hubs, meaning if you don't know what a hub is kind of like, it's like a switch, but it's dumber than a switch. Switch, has VLANs. It intelligently learns different MAC addresses and remembers where they are on the ports and stuff like that. A hub just broadcasts everything out of the port. So, and the reason why we call it a glorified hub is basically because it takes the signal and broadcasts it to the local area network. So, it broadcasts the SSID. So, a layer 2 device, it's also considered a layer 2 device that is a bridge. It takes wireless signals, it takes the wireless signals and switches them onto the Ethernet network, the wired, right? So from wire, it takes everything wireless, the radio signals, and puts them onto the wire. That's why it's pretty much a bridge, and it's a layer 2 device. Hopefully you guys know about the OSI model. Maybe I'll do some, more basic videos on the OSI model, but a layer 2 device basically means it learns about MAC addresses and VLANs and things like that. So it's a layer 2 device that acts as a bridge. It's a bridge between the wireless signals and the wired signals. Remember, behind everything that's wireless is a wire. An AP also broadcasts different frequencies, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, which I believe we'll cover in the next video, and sometimes both, depending on which model AP you have. And this little, I liked this little bullet point over here at the bottom. Wireless access points connects wireless networks to the wired LAN, which I've told y'all many times. It takes everything wireless, puts it onto the wire. Clients do not communicate directly with each other unless they're in an ad hoc network. We'll talk about that maybe pretty soon too. Instead, they communicate with the AP, and the AP converts the frames to the 802.11 encapsulation format to the 802.3 Ethernet frame format. Before communicating, I don't want to read all this to y'all. Basically, like I said, it takes everything that's wireless, puts it onto the wire. They're layer 2 devices, which I told y'all that as well. So I guess that was a redundant bullet point there. Here's some basic parameters that you can configure on an AP. The IP address, such as the subnet mask and default gateway, wireless protocol, whether it's G, ABG, or A, and hopefully y'all done some reading in the ABG, OCG manual. Again, I'm just going to be talking about the basics here. Channel adjustment if needed, channel 1 through 6 or 11. We'll talk about radio frequencies and overlapping channels in the next video. And power adjustment if needed. And you could also set the security parameters, such as the name of the SSID, what type of authentication you're going to use, and the encryption you're going to use. Again, hopefully y'all did some reading on this. I'm not going to get into all of that. WPA2 is basically the strongest type of authentication that you can use. WPA is easily cracked. You don't want to use that kind of authentication. Again, I'm not going to get too deep into that. There's also different types of access points. You got omnidirectional, which 9 times out of 10, if you get an access point today, it's going to be sending its signal omnidirectional, meaning kind of like in a circle. And on the right-hand side, you got high gain directional, which is a directional. It's just like, I'll show you a different type of directional antenna there are. But it's basically, instead of putting everything in putting the signal in 360 degrees, you just picking like in a more focused signal, and that's what directional antenna does. An example of that would be a Yagi antenna, which is what you see right here. Don't say Yogi. I did that in a job interview before. Needless to say, I didn't get that job. But anyways, a Yagi antenna would be a directional type of antenna. Takes the signal and focuses it. So you would want to use this in, like, say something that's just a hallway. That way you're not spreading it out past the walls or anything like that. If you have lead walls, it'll stop the signal from going across it anyway. So anyway, we are going to do a pseudo hands-on lab with some hardware today. I have a Cisco Aironet 1131 access point, so we're going to cover that. Y'all know what it is when y'all see this little girl. Okay, so hopefully y'all can see this. Anyways, this is a Cisco Aironet 1131 access point, right? Looks kind of like the 3600 y'all saw earlier in the slides. As you can see, this right here is basically the LED. I'll turn it on and show y'all how it works and stuff like that. Right now, I have it connected to a 3750 switch, but it's not plugged up yet because we're gonna power it on, and I want y'all to see the booting process. I wanted to show y'all what happens when you actually connect a laptop to the access point, so y'all can see that in action. But unfortunately, we are not going to be able to do that, and I'll get further into that on why we're not going to. But anyways, we're just going to break down some of the parts and what you can see here. Hopefully y'all can see this. Right here we have a, this is where you can plug if you want to power up the access point with just like an AC adapter. Basically, you will plug it here. If you want, you could use what's called a power injector brick, and you can power it up that way. But however, I'm going to power it over Ethernet. That's what PoE stands for, meaning you're basically able to power it up through the Ethernet cable, and I have that plugged up to the 3750 switch, which y'all can see. Hopefully this cable is long enough. And that's the 3750 switch. I will have it plugged up to this silver one right here. Okay, so that is the Ethernet cable, and right here in the blue, that's obviously my console cable, and as you can see, it's labeled just like that. You've got the DC outlet, which is here, the Ethernet cable, which is here, and then the light blue is the console cable right there. Right? There's also the mode button, which is right here, which is what you can use when you need to hard reset it, or if you want to upgrade or downgrade the iOS, or basically the software that's on the access point, which is what I had to do. This access point was actually in what's called lightweight mode, which means it needs a wireless access point to connect. But I was able to convert it to autonomous mode. However, I was not able to get further past that, and I'll get into that in a little bit. So right now, let's bring up Secure CRT so y'all can see the boot up process of an access point. I'm going to plug it up to the 3750 switch. And as y'all can see, it's starting to light up. And there's the green light right there. Hopefully y'all can see the boot up process right here on the right hand side, or left hand side rather. Come on, buddy. See if it powers up. And there it goes. So now it's starting to look for the image. As you can see, it says reset done. Ethernet port is up, and now it's starting to load this image up right here. This is the 1130 iOS image, K9 W7, which means it's autonomous mode iOS, which means it does not need a wireless controller. Sometimes they call it standalone mode, so it doesn't need, because it's standing alone without an access point or without a wireless controller. And as y'all can see, it's booting up right now. And y'all can see this, you know, it's got like different colors and stuff to let you know, green I think means, you know, it's on standby, nobody's connected to it. I believe if somebody's connected to it, it's blue. Once you start seeing colors like this, like orange or red or something like that, that means you know that it's down, it's bricked, or whatever the case may be. And as y'all can see, it's still booting up right there. As soon as y'all hear this little bleep in Secure CRT, or Windows rather, that's how you know it's booted up. And you'll typically, it should take me to a prompt, and you can see and that's the other thing too. This is the first time, well, it ain't the first time. When I got this access point, it was the first time I seen one actually boot up and see how it worked. I'm like, oh, this looks just like a router or a switch, because it's really similar on how the iOS works. But problem here is, I think it freezes up after that. So this is basically a brick. And unfortunately, I had 4 of these, and I got them for free at work and stuff like that. However, I did a little bit of research, and I thought I was doing something wrong here. As y'all can see, it's still booting up. It's turning the radios down. But anyways, the bad news is we are not going to get past this part right here because of a factory defect. And I'll get into that right here. Did a little bit of research and realized that after you upgrade the software, which is what I did before I recorded this video, it says here the AP1130 might fail to boot up after a software upgrade or power cycle. Replace on failure. Well, you know what? This thing became end of life in like 2013. These models came out in like 2004 when I did the research here. It says here, and this is why your Google skills are very important as a network engineer or network analyst. It says here the system symptoms are upgrading the software, rebooting the system, or power cycle. It does not affect you while units are in operation. Well, guess what? It was not in operation. It was collecting dust over here in my garage. It says here AP does not boot up. AP LEDs are red. Right now it looks like it's yellow or amber. The AP does not respond on this console. And as you can see, I've got Secure CRT up, push and enter, and it does not even respond. So basically, this is a brick here. So I wish I would have had a good AP to show y'all. And I got like 4 of these. Like I said, I got free on my job. Now I know why. They gave them to me for free because he was about to trash them anyway. But it was, looking for a wireless controller when I first got these. But then I realized, okay, I need to put these in standalone mode. Put it in standalone mode. And then I ran into this problem right here. Thank God I was able to do some research and find that field notice. But anyways, your researching skills, that is very underrated, to make sure you do some research when you're doing this kind of stuff. I had to do research to get it to even go into autonomous mode. So that's very important too. But anyways, I hope you guys know what an access point does. Again, it's basically like a Wi-Fi hotspot, connects you to the internet. You'll see them at Starbucks. You'll see them at your local restaurants, Wendy's or whatever, any local businesses like that. Just look at the ceiling, you'll see an access point. And that's basically what they are. So that's all I got for y'all today. That is my YouTube page. That is my Twitter handle. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing some more basic stuff on this channel. Again, we're going to be doing some more wireless stuff. After that, we're going to get a little bit more advanced and start covering some more CCNP wireless stuff. For now, please comment, like, subscribe to the network.